Hello there. Today's subject is the militia and what constitutes the militia. First thing I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if it's any group that part or whole of its doctrine is that it hates any type of people, that's not the militia. That's a thinly veiled hate group. And I don't care if they're white supremacists, black supremacists, separatists, or whatever label you want to put on them. That's not what the militia is. It's not what it was intended to be. And quite frankly, it's a hate group. Prior to us becoming an independent country, we had local militias. What the local militia was and is able-bodied people, or let me change that and rephrase it. People who are able and willing to respond to an emergency or crisis. And the reason I had to change that is because even though your body's not able, it doesn't mean that you cannot respond in some fashion. The militia was formed in the colonies to respond to emergencies. These would be attacks by Indians, foreign powers, anyone who was a threat to the community, fires, any type of disaster. These are not necessarily your barnyard commandos that enjoy wearing camouflage on the weekends and shooting guns. And I say not necessarily because some of them are legitimate militia groups with a goal and a plan to help their communities in times of crisis. So I'm not going to necessarily exclude anybody out of that. At least they train, at least they prepare, which is a lot better than most people do. The militia comes out of the community. And those are people who are willing to do whatever is needed in an emergency to help their fellow man. Typically, may be in a community, may be outside a community. You know, we've got a lot of people who are going to the Panhandle area farther west of here to help out with hurricane relief. That's a natural disaster. Your Cajun Navy, I would say those guys are part of the militia, guys and gals. I don't want to sound like I'm excluding anybody. The need for the militia in the colonies was pretty straightforward. You did not have law enforcement. You did not have emergency medical. You did not have professional firefighters. People had to look after themselves and after each other. That's what the militia is. Okay? friend of mine who was of the liberal persuasion did not understand that till I explained it this way. He said that the Second Amendment only applied to organized militia. I said, guess what, buddy? You are the militia. He said, well, when did I join? I said, the day you moved from Ohio down here to Florida. You became a member of the Florida Irregulars. Okay. So the militia is good people willing to respond to crisis events in their community. Maybe going to other communities and helping out. Now it's interesting, even though he is of the liberal persuasion, he has now become a Second Amendment supporter. The Minutemen fell into a unique group in the militia. In the colonies, these were men who kept their equipment ready to go at a moment's notice to respond to a crisis. These would be your guys that would be like a quick strike team. Go in there, try to get a handle on it, assess damage, do what they could until the rest of the community could mobilize behind them. So when we look at it this way, yes, we have law enforcement that does a great job. We have EMS. We have a network of hospitals and doctors for medical. We have our National Guardsmen. And those guys do the best job that they can. The good thing about North Florida, this area I live in, is communities come together. They look out when there's a natural disaster. They're going to be there for each other. You know, there's a lot of aid here being rounded up, being sent to Wakulla County, Bay County, I believe Leon County. This is just in the tiny little community of City of Perry, Taylor County. And this community is very good about doing that. You've got guys that are going over to help with the rescue efforts on their own free will. Some guys are just regular guys. You've got some guys that are law enforcement that are going over there to help out on their own time with no compensation, taking their own vehicle, their own resources, and going and helping out. And I'm really grateful for you guys. You know, you are a bunch of stand-up guys that go over there and do that. And it's not because they're being ordered over there. Now, we do have resources and the law enforcement, EMS, firefighters that are under orders to go over there doing that as part of their profession. I don't hold those guys any less than guys that are going over there and doing this on their own free will. But that's what the militia is. That's what they do. In times of crisis, they help their neighbor. I don't have any problem with any other group. I don't see anything wrong with dressing up in camo and going around and shooting guns on the weekend. I kind of tend to like to do that myself. I don't have any problem with tactical training. I don't have any problem with any type of training. But at the base of it, the militia is a community that comes together as human beings and helps their neighbors. And that's what it is. Later on,